Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to start the first chapter of geography under the split up syllabus for the month of April. And the first chapter of geography is resources and development. Before going to start this chapter, dear children, you need a notebook and a pen. So let's start this chapter. First, what is resource? I think you all are aware, you all are familiar about the term resource because in the previous classes you have studied about this. Resource means everything that is available in our environment and that could satisfy our needs. It may be a pen, it may be a pencil, it may be a bag, it may be soil, water, sun rays, animal, plants, anything. But students, you don't think that this definition seems very simple and limited? So there is a need to understand this definition in a more comprehensive way. Let me tell you how anything becomes a resource, or what are the preconditions or prerequisites for being anything as a resource. So let's see here on your screen these three preconditions. First, it should be technologically accessible. It means we must have the appropriate technology, only then we can extract or utilize the resource which is available in our environment. The second thing is it should be culturally acceptable. It means the things which are going to be utilized, it must be accepted as a resource by the larger society. Here we can understand this thing with the help of an example. Human trafficking for getting forced labor or fetching vital body organ illegally cannot be termed as a resource. Though we know that captivating human for these purposes satisfies one's need. It means those who captivated human being for getting forced labor or fetching vital body organs benefit them. But all these things cannot be considered as a resource. Why? Because this is not culturally acceptable to captivate humans for getting forced labor or for fetching human body organ. I hope you have understood the meaning of it should be culturally acceptable. Now, move on to the next criteria. This is economically feasible. It means resource can be considered resource if it is economically feasible. It means it should be cost effective. In other words, we can say that if extraction cost or development cost will be more than what benefit actually we get, it will be not called as economically feasible. In other words, we can say that if the cost of extraction or cost of development exceeds the benefit actually we get, it means the things are not economically feasible. I hope it is clear to you. Now move on to the next thing, that is interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. Dear children, you can see here a triangle. In the center of this triangle, there is a human being. And on the three different corners, there are different components like nature, like technology and institutions. Human beings interact from all these. This is the interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. In a more simple way, you could understand that minerals are available in a nature, in our physical environment. Clear? We want to extract those minerals. But for extracting those minerals, what we need? We need technology. It means we need devices, we need equipments. For example, coal is available in a nature. We need devices, we need cranes, we need JCB machines for extracting those coal. So this is a part of the technology. Now, resources are available. We are having the technology. Now, what we require, it is institutions. Institutions means industry, where plans are made, where mechanism is there, where assessment, planning, all these things are there. It means how extracting coal can be processed, how extracting coal could be utilized, how extracting coal could be sent in another industries. So for all these things, we need an institutions. In this way, there is an interaction between physical environment, technology, and institutions. Now move on to the next thing, classification of resources. There are 4 different bases upon which resources can be categorized. First basis is origin. Second one is exhaustibility. Third one is ownership. And fourth one is levels of developments. Now, we will take the first basis upon which resources can be further categorized. That is upon the basis of origin. Upon the basis of origin, resources can be categorized into 2 parts, biotic resource and abiotic resource. Biotic resource means those resources which are obtained from biosphere and have a life. For example, flora, fauna, fisheries, livestock, human beings, etc. On the other hand, abiotic resources, those resources which compose mainly non-living things like rocks, like metals, it may be water, it may be soil, it may be sun rays, anything. Now, the second basis of classification of resource is exhaustibility. Upon the basis of exhaustibility, resources can be categorized as a renewable resource and non-renewable resource. Renewable resource, we can say that the resources that can be reused, recycled and reproduced. You can see here, it may be a wind energy, it may be a solar energy. Now, non-renewable resources. These resources can take a long geological time to be generated. And that's why these resources are often considered non-renewable. It means once these resources get exhausted, depleted, it will not be possible to replenish. For example, coal, oil, natural gas, and other kinds of minerals. Now, move on to the next basis of classification, that is upon the basis of ownership. Upon the basis of ownership, you can see here there are 4 different types of resources: individual resource, community resource, national resource, and international resource. You can see here individual resource means resource which is under the control and possession of an individual. Community resource, it means resource which is used by a community or a society of any place. It may be a park, it may be a pond, it may be a playground, etc. Next one is the national resource. National resource, it means resource which is under the control of the government and it is confined within the boundary of a country. Technically, all the national resources belongs to the nation. For example, roads, oceanic area up to 9.2 kilometers from the coast, train, etc. Now, international resources. International resources belonging to the international institutions, and it is beyond the control and possession of any nation. For example, oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles from the exclusive economic zone of any country, which are having the coastline. So, next one is the basis of a status of development. Upon the basis of a status of development or the level of development, resources can be further categorized into potential resource, developed resource, a stock resource, and reserve resource. So let's see these types of resources. First, potential resource. You can see here, potential resource means resources which can be found in abundance but unused. It means that resources which are found in an area but not have been utilized. Reason may be backwardness, not willingness of the government, low priority, or more available alternatives, or anything else. But it is very, very important to know that technical hindrance must not be there. It means we have the appropriate technology despite resources are not being utilized. And we have told you that reason may be different. Like in Rajasthan and Gujarat, there are huge potential of solar and wind energy, but not been used so far on a large scale. Now, move on to the next division, developed resource. Developed resource, It means resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity are determined for utilization. Like most of the resources which are being utilized presently, like coal, petroleum, gold, tin, etc. Now, next one is the stock resource. Dear children, it is very, very important to know what is a stock resource, because sometimes this stock resource seems similar to the potential resource. But here you have to understand the basic difference between potential resource and a stock resource. First, let me clarify you what is a stock resource. The resources which have the potential to satisfy human needs, but there is no technology to use, are included among the stock resource. What I have said here, there is no technology available. It means there is a technological hindrance or obstacle. That's why resources are not being utilized, or things are not being utilized as a resource. Like water is a compound of hydrogen and oxygen, H2O, you all are aware, which can be used as a rich source of energy, but at the present time, there is no such technology to do so. It means on the large scale, hydrogen cannot be separated from oxygen, and hydrogen could be utilized as an important fuel. If it could happen, then we will be able to utilize the huge oceanic water as a fuel. But at present, the technology is not available. That's why it is a stock resource. It means we have the stock, but at present we are not able to technologically developed this stock as a resource. Now, last one is the reserve resource. Reserve resource means they are subset of the stock which can be used with the existing technology but are conserved for the future generation. It means reserve resources are those resources which are available and we are having the technology to extract that resources, but we are deliberately not utilizing those resources because we want to use those resources in a future. So these are the different types of resources upon the basis of level of development or a status of development. So dear students, I hope you have got it, what we have studied till now. So we will do some homework because it is a homework time, and I'm giving you some questions and you all are supposed to do this in your notebook. The first thing or the first question is, what do you mean by the term resource? You have already studied, so I think there will be no problem. The second one is, what are the three prerequisites for being anything as a resource? We have discussed widely upon this topic also. And the third one is, give a brief account of classification of resources. It means under this question, what you have to write? You have to write upon the different basis upon which resources can be categorized, and under those bases, what are the different types of resources. So I hope you have enjoyed this session. We will meet in the next session. Goodbye.